the exploration of aesthetics has been a profound and ongoing endeavor, spanning over 2,500 years, during which philosophers have delved into the nature of beauty, art, and sensory experience. This discipline serves as a bridge that connects perception, emotion, and understanding, allowing for a rich dialogue across different cultural and historical contexts. The journey of aesthetic philosophy begins with the ancient Greeks, particularly with Plato, who posited that art is an imitation, or mimesis, of the ideal forms. For Plato, beauty was intimately linked to higher truths, and he famously illustrated this connection in his Allegory of the Cave, where he explored the tension between perception and reality. Aristotle, his student, offered a contrasting view by suggesting that art could serve as a form of catharsis, capable of evoking and purging emotions through drama. He emphasized that mimesis allowed individuals to engage deeply with the world around them. As philosophy evolved in Hellenistic times, schools like Stoicism and Epicureanism offered new perspectives. Stoics saw art as a means to transcend human suffering and emphasized that beauty is tied to moral goodness. Epicureans, on the other hand, celebrated beauty in sensory pleasures and aesthetic experiences, emphasizing the role of personal enjoyment. The medieval period introduced theological dimensions to aesthetic thought. St. Augustine argued that beauty reflects divine order, leading to spiritual contemplation. His ideas were further developed by Thomas Aquinas, who viewed beauty as a manifestation of God's attributes. For Aquinas, harmony and proportion were essential elements of beauty, linking aesthetics with moral and spiritual considerations. The Renaissance brought a resurgence of interest in classical ideals, shifting focus onto human experience and individual perception. This was encapsulated by artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, who emphasized the connection between art and the human condition. Immanuel Kant emerged in the Enlightenment, positing that aesthetic judgment hinges on disinterested pleasure. In his Critique of Judgment, he examined the relationship between beauty and the sublime, proposing that art and nature are intertwined, thus making aesthetic experiences central to human autonomy and freedom. The 19th century heralded the Romantic movement, characterized by a deep emphasis on individual emotion, nature, and the sublime. Artists like J.M.W. Turner and poets such as William Wordsworth shifted the dialogue from Enlightenment rationality to the subjective experiences of beauty. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel added complexity to aesthetic thought by viewing art as the ultimate manifestation of spirit, Geist, within culture. He outlined the evolution of art through history, culminating in a synthesis of form and content. As we entered the 20th century, modernist perspectives began to challenge traditional notions of beauty in art, giving rise to movements that embraced abstraction. Influential figures including Pablo Picasso and Wassily Kandinsky questioned established aesthetic parameters, leading to the emergence of abstract expressionism. Postmodernism further complicated the aesthetics discourse by deconstructing grand narratives and emphasizing the relativity of meaning. This era brought about a critical examination of the gendered nature of aesthetic values through feminist lenses, while post-colonial perspectives sought to include diverse voices and challenge dominant frameworks. Today, the field of aesthetics is undergoing transformation, particularly influenced by the rise of technology. Digital media has reshaped how we perceive and create art, with the internet emerging as a new type of gallery. Virtual reality and immersive experiences have redefined traditional notions of artistic engagement. Contemporary aesthetics is increasingly interdisciplinary, incorporating insights from psychology, neuroscience, and cultural studies. This convergence has enriched our understanding of aesthetic experience and inclusivity, allowing a broader representation of beauty that embraces marginalized perspectives and alternative aesthetics. The journey of aesthetic philosophy is a reflection of an evolving dialogue that continues to explore the nature of beauty, art, and the sensory experience. It remains a vital inquiry, challenging and inspiring us to question our perceptions and consider the cultural contexts that shape our understanding of beauty today. As we move forward into a rapidly changing world, the legacy of aesthetic thought provokes us to engage with contemporary issues in society and culture, making the study of aesthetics an ever-relevant pursuit. In light of this exploration, we might consider several important questions. How do contemporary art movements challenge traditional aesthetic values? In what ways can aesthetic philosophy inform our understanding of social and political issues today? Lastly, what role does technology play in shaping our perceptions of beauty and art? These inquiries invite us to engage critically with the ongoing evolution of aesthetic thought and its implications for our lives and society as a whole. Aesthetics is a complex and multifaceted field that examines the nature of beauty, taste, and artistic experience. It encompasses a broad range of inquiries into how individuals engage with the aesthetic dimensions of their environment, art, and culture. At its core, aesthetics represents a philosophical inquiry into the concepts of beauty and taste, engaging actively with these ideas as they manifest across various cultures and historical periods. The philosophical exploration of aesthetics raises foundational questions that have preoccupied thinkers for centuries. What is beauty? Can it be defined, or is it inherently subjective? How do we categorize art, and what criteria do we use to determine its value? Is aesthetic experience universal, or does it vary significantly across different cultural contexts? Such inquiries invite a deeper investigation into the very essence of what beauty entails, prompting philosophers to dissect and analyze the cognitive, emotional, and ethical dimensions of our aesthetic encounters. Throughout history, influential philosophers have contributed significantly to the evolution of aesthetic thought. Plato, for instance, viewed art as an imitation of an ideal reality, proposing that true beauty resides in the realm of the forms. This idea emphasizes the relationship between aesthetics and metaphysics, positing that our sensory experiences are merely reflections of more profound truths. His student Aristotle offered a contrasting perspective, suggesting that art serves a critical function in society, particularly through the concept of catharsis in tragic drama, where the emotions of pity and fear are purged through artistic engagement. In the Enlightenment era, Immanuel Kant shifted the discourse by focusing on the nature of aesthetic judgment. He introduced the notion of disinterested pleasure, arguing that genuine aesthetic appreciation arises when we encounter beauty without any ulterior motive. This idea has profound implications for how we relate to art and its creators. Kant's work, particularly in Critique of Judgment, explores the interconnectedness of beauty, nature, and human experience, asserting that our aesthetic experiences are central to our understanding of freedom and individuality. As we move into the 19th century, the Romantic movement brought about a renewed emphasis on individual emotion and the sublime. Artists and poets began to reflect their inner landscapes and personal experiences through their works, pushing against the boundaries of reason that had characterized the previous era. Figures like William Wordsworth and J.M.W. Turner celebrated nature's beauty while also grappling with human emotions, insisting that artistic expression must encompass the depth of personal experience and emotional truth. Later philosophical thought, particularly with Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, considered the historical trajectory of art as a manifestation of the evolving human spirit. Hegel argued that art serves as a crucial medium through which culture articulates and understands itself. He posited that the development of art mirrors the progression of consciousness, culminating in a synthesis that incorporates both form and content. This historical perspective on aesthetics invites us to consider how art reflects societal values and the collective human experience. The 20th century witnessed significant shifts in the landscape of aesthetics as modernist thinkers and artists began to challenge traditional notions of beauty and representation. Movements such as Cubism, Dadaism, and abstract expressionism emerged, prioritizing experimentation and innovation over the classical ideals of harmony and proportion. Artists like Pablo Picasso and Wassily Kandinsky questioned the very foundations of visual representation, exploring the power of abstraction and conveying emotions through non-traditional forms. This era fundamentally transformed the way we understand and engage with art, reflecting broader societal changes and the complexities of modern life. Postmodernism further complicated the discourse on aesthetics by challenging established narratives and promoting pluralism in artistic expression. This movement emphasized the relativity of meaning, suggesting that interpretations of beauty and art are shaped by cultural context, personal experience, and social constructs. Critical theories, particularly feminist and post-colonial approaches, began to interrogate the gendered and imperialistic dimensions of aesthetic values. These perspectives illuminate how dominant institutions have historically defined and gatekept artistic standards while highlighting the richness of marginalized voices and alternative aesthetics. In our contemporary context, the field of aesthetics is experiencing profound transformations, largely influenced by rapid technological advancements. As digital media and the internet redefine how we create, experience, and share art, traditional notions of beauty and representation are continuously evolving. Virtual reality and immersive experiences challenge preconceived ideas of the physical artwork, inviting viewers to engage with artistic expression in unprecedented ways. The democratization of art, facilitated by platforms that enable anyone to share their work, raises new questions about authorship, authenticity, and the very definition of art. Moreover, the study of aesthetics is increasingly interdisciplinary, drawing on insights from psychology, neuroscience, and cultural studies to deepen our understanding of aesthetic experience. Researchers explore how cognitive processes, emotional responses, and societal influences intersect in shaping our perceptions of beauty. This holistic approach allows for a richer exploration of how individuals assign meaning to their aesthetic encounters, ultimately fostering a more nuanced understanding of aesthetic appreciation. In essence, aesthetics is a dynamic and evolving field that invites us to reflect on the profound role that beauty plays in our everyday lives. By engaging in philosophical inquiry, examining artistic experiences, and exploring sensory understanding, we gain valuable insights into the diverse contexts that shape our perceptions of beauty. Aesthetics encourages a deeper appreciation for the complexity of human experience and invites us to consider not only how we create and consume art, but also how art continues to shape our understanding of ourselves, our society, and our world. The ancient roots of aesthetic thought are deeply intertwined with the philosophical inquiries of early Greek thinkers, particularly Plato and Aristotle. Their explorations laid the groundwork for understanding beauty, art, and the human experience, creating a legacy that continues to influence contemporary aesthetics. This section will delve deeper into the contributions of these philosophers and the broader Greek tradition, highlighting the enduring significance of their ideas. Plato, 427 to 347 BCE. Plato's contributions to aesthetics are foundational, particularly through his theory of ideal forms. For Plato, reality consists of two realms: the physical world we perceive through our senses, which he regarded as flawed and subject to change, and the world of ideal forms, which is immutable and perfect. Beauty, in Plato's view, exists as an ideal form beyond the reach of ordinary human experience. This concept suggests that while physical manifestations of beauty, such as art, nature, or human beings, may evoke feelings of admiration, they are ultimately imperfect reflections of a more profound, abstract beauty that cannot be fully captured. Plato contended that the pursuit of beauty leads individuals closer to truth and ultimately the divine. In dialogues such as Symposium, he explores how love for beauty can guide individuals on a philosophical journey toward the divine realm of ideals. This represents a significant alignment of aesthetics with ethics and metaphysics in Plato's thought. The appreciation of beauty, therefore, becomes a means of transcending the physical realm and engaging with higher truths. Plato's Allegory of the Cave further illustrates this point, depicting a scenario where individuals are prisoners, only seeing shadows of the true forms. In this allegory, philosophical enlightenment is likened to escaping the cave and perceiving the world of ideal forms, culminating in the recognition of true beauty. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE. Aristotle's approach to aesthetics diverges from Plato's idealism, focusing instead on the tangible aspects of art and the experience of beauty. He famously developed the concept of mimesis, positing that art is an imitation of nature and human action. Aristotle viewed mimesis as not merely a replication of reality, but as a creative and transformative process that enables individuals to comprehend and engage with their own experiences. This notion underscores art's capacity to evoke empathy, provoke thought, and stimulate emotional responses. In his work Poetics, Aristotle delves into the nature of tragedy and the role of catharsis, a term he uses to describe the emotional purification that occurs through experiencing art. By engaging with familiar human experiences depicted in a dramatic framework, audiences are able to confront and process their feelings, leading to a cathartic release. This highlights the ethical dimension of art. According to Aristotle, exposure to artistic representations encourages moral reflection and insight into the human condition. Aristotle also emphasized the significance of form and structure in art. He argued that an artist must balance various elements, such as plot, character, and diction, to create a harmonious work that resonates with audiences. This idea laid the groundwork for subsequent discussions on aesthetics, establishing criteria for evaluating artistic quality based on coherence, unity, and emotional impact. The broader Greek tradition established the critical importance of beauty as a subject worthy of philosophical inquiry. The Greeks did not confine beauty to mere aesthetic appreciation. Instead, they linked it intimately with notions of goodness and truth. As reflected in the writings of philosophers, poets, and playwrights, the interconnectedness of these concepts suggests that beauty is not an isolated attribute, but a vital element of a well-lived life. The Greeks revered beauty in various forms, including art, architecture, music, and philosophy. Their understanding of beauty was deeply embedded in their cultural practices, evident in the grandeur of structures like the Parthenon, which harmonized architectural strength with aesthetic appeal. The concept of kalokagathia, or the ideal of physical beauty combined with moral virtue, illustrates how aesthetics permeated Greek thought, highlighting the belief that the beautiful and the good are inseparable. Moreover, Greek tragic and comedic playwrights such as Sophocles and Aristophanes engage with themes of beauty, morality, and human experience. Their works reflect a profound inquiry into the nature of existence, the complexities of human emotion, and the ethical dilemmas faced by individuals. This artistic engagement underscored the significance of beauty and art as tools for reflection and understanding, connecting audiences to deeper philosophical questions about life, ethics, and the human experience. The aesthetic inquiries of the Greeks set a critical precedent for future philosophical exploration. By establishing beauty and art as subjects of rigorous thought, they invited subsequent thinkers to interrogate and expand upon these foundational ideas. Thus, the ancient roots of aesthetic thought laid a vital foundation for understanding how beauty is entwined with our perceptions of reality, morality, and the essence of being human. In conclusion, the contributions of Plato, Aristotle, and the broader Greek tradition have forged a lasting impact on aesthetic philosophy. Their inquiries not only illuminate the essential nature of beauty, but also underscore its significance as a vehicle for personal and philosophical growth. The exploration of beauty and artistic experience is a dialogue that transcends time and culture, reminding us of the enduring power of aesthetics in shaping our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The classical aesthetic ideals of harmony, proportion, symmetry, and virtue serve as fundamental principles that have shaped artistic expression and philosophical thought throughout history, particularly within the context of ancient Greek and Roman culture. These ideals reflect the belief that beauty is a manifestation of order and moral integrity, and have profoundly influenced not only the visual arts, but also architecture, literature, and music. Harmony is a key principle in classical aesthetics, embodying the balance between various elements to create a unified whole. It transcends mere aesthetic appeal, reflecting a philosophical understanding of order and coherence in the universe. In art, harmony can be achieved through the careful arrangement of colors, shapes, and forms, creating a sense of continuity that draws the viewer's eye and evokes a feeling of serenity. This concept also extends to music, where harmony involves the interplay of different melodic lines or chords to create a cohesive sound. The ancient Greeks recognized the mathematical relationships inherent in musical harmony, which they believed paralleled the harmony found in visual art and the natural world. Pythagoras, for instance, discovered that vibrating strings produce harmonious sounds when their lengths are in simple ratios, linking aesthetics closely to mathematics and further reinforcing the idea of an orderly universe governed by consistent principles. In architectural works, the harmonious combination of structural elements serves not only a functional purpose but also contributes to the aesthetic experience. The Parthenon, with its impressive columns and refined proportions, exemplifies how harmony in architecture can evoke feelings of reverence and admiration, drawing visitors into a shared experience of beauty. Proportion is intricately connected to the idea of harmony, emphasizing the precise relationships between the parts of a whole. In classical aesthetics, the concept of proportion is often mathematically grounded, with specific ratios employed to achieve a sense of beauty that resonates with human perception. This principle is embodied in the golden ratio, often represented by the Greek letter phi, f, approximately equal to 1.618. This ratio has been revered since antiquity for its aesthetically pleasing qualities and can be observed in numerous works of art, architecture, and even nature. The Greeks developed sophisticated mathematical guidelines for proportion, which were articulated by architects like Vitruvius, who emphasized the importance of proportion in creating structures that not only stood the test of time, but also delighted the eye. Vitruvius famously wrote that a well-proportioned building should reflect the harmonious relationships found in the human body, creating an analogy between human form and architectural beauty. His treatise, De Architectura, asserts that understanding proportion allows architects to create spaces that invoke emotional responses and contribute to the overall aesthetic experience. Artists throughout history have also employed proportion as a guiding principle, whether in the balanced composition of figures in painting or the careful scaling of sculptures. Leonardo da Vinci's use of proportion in his artworks, particularly in his famous piece Vitruvian Man, illustrates the intersection of art and science and the pursuit of beauty through rationality. Symmetry, defined as the equal distribution of visual weight on either side of a central axis, is another critical aspect of classical aesthetics. This principle contributes significantly to the perception of beauty, as symmetrical arrangements often evoke feelings of stability and order. The human eye is naturally drawn to symmetry, finding it comforting and visually appealing. In architecture, symmetry is a hallmark of ancient Greek and Roman design. Temples, civic buildings, and public spaces were typically constructed with symmetrical designs that conveyed authority and permanence. The Parthenon stands as a premier example of architectural symmetry, with its evenly spaced columns and balanced facade, creating a sense of harmony that has captivated observers for centuries. Symmetry also plays a vital role in sculpture, where artists often strive to create balanced proportions in their representations of the human form. Classical Greek sculptures like those of Polykleitos exemplify this ideal, showcasing the beauty of the human body through careful attention to symmetrical features and an overall balanced composition. This meticulous attention to detail not only celebrates human beauty but also embodies the philosophical ideals of balance and harmony. Beyond the visual arts, symmetry is also significant in literature and poetry, where structural symmetry and form, such as meter or rhyme scheme, can enhance the overall beauty and emotional impact of a work. This literary symmetry invites readers to experience a sense of musicality and unity, reflecting broader aesthetic ideals. Virtue as an aesthetic ideal posits that moral goodness is inherently reflected in beauty. Classical philosophers contended that true beauty cannot be divorced from ethical considerations. Rather, it is deeply connected to the pursuit of goodness and truth. This understanding aligns with the belief that aesthetically pleasing art should inspire moral contemplation and elevate the human spirit. Plato articulated this connection through his theory of forms, positing that the highest form of beauty is inherently tied to the pursuit of virtue. In his dialogues, he often suggested that engaging with beauty can lead individuals closer to the good, arguing that the appreciation of beauty in art serves as a moral guide. The idea that beauty possesses an ethical dimension encourages artists to infuse their work with virtuous elements, fostering a relationship between aesthetics and morality. Aristotle further explored the notion of virtue in relation to art, particularly in his examination of tragedy. He believed that witnessing the moral dilemmas and emotional struggles of characters on stage could lead audiences to experience catharsis, helping them reflect on their own values and ethical choices. Through this emotional engagement, art becomes a powerful tool for moral education, encouraging individuals to aspire toward virtuous behavior. The classical ideal of virtue highlights the responsibility of artists to create works that not only elicit aesthetic pleasure but also prompt ethical reflection and human connection. This interplay between beauty and morality serves as a call to action for both creators and audiences, reminding us that the pursuit of beauty is not merely about external appearances, but also encompasses the core values that shape our character and actions. The classical aesthetic ideals of harmony, proportion, symmetry, and virtue collectively construct a comprehensive framework for understanding beauty in art, architecture, and beyond. These principles emphasize the intrinsic connections between the aesthetic experience and broader philosophical questions regarding order, morality, and the human experience. By appreciating and applying these ideals, artists, architects, and thinkers have strived to create works that resonate with audiences on multiple levels, transcending time and cultural boundaries. The legacy of these classical aesthetic ideals continues to influence contemporary discussions about beauty and art, prompting new generations to explore the enduring questions of what constitutes beauty, how it is represented, and its role in our lives. As we engage with these timeless principles, we are reminded of the profound ability of aesthetic experiences to inspire and elevate, guiding us in our quest for understanding, meaning, and connection in the world around us. The exploration of beauty has long been a central focus of philosophical inquiry, leading to a variety of perspectives that grapple with its nature and significance. These perspectives can be broadly categorized into three main camps: objective beauty, subjective beauty, and mixed theories. Each perspective emphasizes different aspects of aesthetic experience and reflects the evolving dialogue surrounding beauty in both art and life. The perspective of objective beauty posits that beauty exists independently of observers, possessing inherent qualities that transcend individual preferences and cultural contexts. According to this view, certain objects or experiences can be deemed beautiful based on their intrinsic properties, regardless of how individuals perceive or interpret them. This notion aligns with the belief that beauty can be defined, measured, or characterized through universal criteria. Key thinkers associated with this perspective include Plato, Augustine, and Thomas Aquinas. For Plato, beauty is linked to his theory of ideal forms, where true beauty exists as an ideal that transcends the physical manifestations we encounter in the material world. He argued that the appreciation of beauty is a journey toward understanding higher truths and ideals. Augustine, drawing from Platonic thought, viewed beauty as a reflection of divine order. He believed that God's creation embodies beauty, which serves as a pathway to understanding the divine. Thomas Aquinas further developed this idea by integrating it with Christian theology, asserting that beauty is a manifestation of God's goodness. He identified three key attributes of beauty: integrity, wholeness, proportion, correctness of parts, and clarity, radiance, suggesting that these qualities collectively denote objective beauty. This philosophical perspective posits a standard of beauty that exists apart from human experience and opinion, emphasizing a universal and intrinsic quality that can be appreciated across cultures. In stark contrast to the objective perspective, the subjective view of beauty asserts that beauty exists solely in the mind of the beholder. According to this position, aesthetic value is not inherent in objects, but rather is contingent upon individual perceptions, experiences, and cultural contexts. This perspective emphasizes the variability of beauty, which can change across different individuals, cultures, and historical periods. Philosophers such as David Hume, Edmund Burke, and George Santayana championed this subjective approach. Hume argued in his Of the Standard of Taste that aesthetic judgments are inherently personal and can vary widely among individuals. He believed that beauty is tied to sentiment and emotional response, suggesting that what is beautiful to one might not be so to another. Edmund Burke further articulated the subjective conception of beauty by distinguishing between beauty and the sublime. He argued that beauty is associated with qualities such as smoothness, delicacy, and symmetry, whereas the sublime invokes awe and terror. George Santayana, in his influential work The Sense of Beauty, described beauty as a pleasant experience that arises from feelings of pleasure and satisfaction in response to sensory stimulation. This philosophical perspective highlights the role of the individual in shaping aesthetic experience, emphasizing that beauty is a dynamic and context-dependent phenomenon intimately tied to personal and cultural factors. Mixed theories attempt to reconcile the objective and subjective perspectives, arguing that beauty combines both inherent properties of objects and subjective responses of observers. This approach recognizes that while certain qualities may lend themselves to aesthetics, cultural context and individual interpretation also shape aesthetic judgments. Key thinkers in this category include Immanuel Kant, Friedrich Schiller, and John Dewey. Kant's critical philosophy, particularly articulated in the Critique of Judgment, posits that aesthetic judgments are based on a combination of subjective feelings of pleasure and objective properties of the object being experienced. He introduces the concept of disinterested pleasure, where true aesthetic appreciation does not stem from personal desire or utility, but arises from an engagement with beauty itself. For Kant, this interplay between objective qualities and subjective responses establishes a framework for understanding how beauty is perceived. Friedrich Schiller contributed to mixed theories by emphasizing the interplay between reason and emotion in aesthetic experience. He argued that art and beauty provide a space for individuals to reconcile their rational faculties with their emotional responses, fostering a deeper understanding of humanity. Schiller believed that engaging with beauty allows individuals to cultivate moral and ethical sentiments, reflecting a combined approach that honors both objective and subjective elements. John Dewey, a prominent figure in American pragmatism, further explored this duality in his work, Art as Experience. Dewey claimed that aesthetic experience arises from the interaction between individuals and their environment, encompassing both the object's qualities and the observer's responses. He emphasized the importance of context, culture, and engagement in shaping artistic appreciation, advocating for an experiential approach to understanding beauty. The philosophical perspectives on beauty, objective, subjective, and mixed theories, underscore the depth and complexity of aesthetic inquiry. Each approach offers valuable insights into the nature of beauty, inviting us to consider the interplay between inherent qualities and personal perceptions. Objective theories underscore the search for universal criteria and eternal truths, while subjective theories celebrate the richness of individual experience and cultural diversity. Mixed theories highlight the dynamic interactions that shape our understanding of beauty, illustrating that aesthetic experience is a nuanced dance between the characteristics of the object and the sensibilities of the observer. Through the lens of these philosophical perspectives, we gain a deeper appreciation for the multifaceted nature of beauty and its profound impact on our lives, art, and the human experience. Engaging with these ideas invites us to continue exploring and reflecting on the myriad ways in which beauty manifests in our world, challenging us to embrace its complexities and celebrate its enduring significance. Immanuel Kant's aesthetic theory, articulated primarily in his influential work Critique of Judgment, 1790, marks a significant departure from previous philosophical perspectives on beauty and art. In this landmark text, Kant explores aesthetic experience as a distinct mental faculty, addressing the relationship between the observer and the artwork and laying the groundwork for modern aesthetics. His ideas encompass notions of disinterested pleasure, universal validity of aesthetic judgments, and the concept of free play, all of which contribute to a nuanced understanding of beauty. Critique of Judgment, 1790. In Critique of Judgment, Kant examines the nature of aesthetic experience, articulating a framework that distinguishes it from other forms of cognition. He argues that aesthetic judgments arise from a specific cognitive process that engages our faculties of imagination and understanding in a unique way. Kant proposes that aesthetic experience is different from empirical or moral judgments. It does not concern itself with the practical utility or moral implications of an object, but rather focuses on the experience of beauty itself. Kant situated his aesthetic theory within the broader context of his critical philosophy, addressing the complexities of human perception and understanding. He emphasizes that aesthetic judgment arises out of a self-reflective experience where the individual contemplates beauty without ulterior motives, a concept that revolutionized how beauty was previously understood in philosophical thought. One of the most critical elements of Kant's aesthetic theory is the notion of disinterested pleasure. This principle posits that true appreciation of beauty occurs when one engages with an object without any desire for personal gain or practical interest. In this state, individuals experience pleasure solely from the beauty of the object itself, free from any considerations of how it may serve their needs or desires. Kant argues that disinterested pleasure allows for a purer form of aesthetic appreciation, where the observer is open to experiencing beauty for its own sake. This idea challenges earlier conceptions of beauty as being tied to practical or utilitarian functions. For Kant, the ability to appreciate beauty in a disinterested manner is essential for making genuine aesthetic judgments and reaching an understanding of beauty that transcends personal preference or cultural conditioning. Kant claims that aesthetic judgments possess a form of universal validity, suggesting that they can evoke a shared response among observers, despite being inherently subjective. While he acknowledges that personal experiences influence our perceptions of beauty, he asserts that certain qualities tend to elicit similar responses across different individuals. For example, when encountering a beautiful landscape or a well-composed piece of music, people from diverse backgrounds may respond with a common sense of admiration or awe. This notion of universal validity reflects Kant's belief in the potential for aesthetic experience to foster a sense of community among individuals. By suggesting that certain aesthetic judgments can engender universal agreement, Kant positions beauty as something that holds deeper significance, connecting individuals through shared experiences of art and nature. This idea contributes to the overarching philosophical notion that beauty can unveil common human truths, even amidst subjective differences in perception. Another pivotal aspect of Kant's aesthetic theory is the concept of free play. In Kant's view, Beauty emerges from the harmonious interplay between the faculties of imagination and understanding during aesthetic experience. The imagination generates representations of an object, while the understanding seeks to comprehend its form and meaning. When these faculties engage in a dynamic exchange, an experience of beauty occurs. Free play signifies a state in which the imagination is not constrained by rigid rules or concepts, but is instead allowed to explore possibilities and create connections. This intellectual engagement enhances the richness of aesthetic experience, allowing the observer to find beauty in the relationships and contrasts present in the artwork or natural scene. Kant posits that this free play of faculties enables individuals to appreciate art in a way that transcends mere sensory pleasure, engaging them on a deeper cognitive and emotional level. Kant's aesthetic theory, as presented in the Critique of Judgment, represents a significant philosophical advancement in the understanding of beauty and aesthetic experience. By distinguishing aesthetic judgment as a unique cognitive process, Kant emphasizes the importance of disinterested pleasure in fostering a genuine appreciation of beauty. His assertion of universal validity challenges the notion of beauty as purely subjective, promoting the idea that certain aesthetic experiences can evoke shared responses across individuals and cultures. The concept of free play further enriches this framework, highlighting the dynamic interplay of imagination and understanding that deepens our engagement with beauty. Overall, Kant's contributions to aesthetic theory have had a profound impact on subsequent philosophical thought, influencing generations of artists, critics, and theorists. By framing the discussion of beauty in terms of cognitive engagement and moral significance, Kant not only transformed the landscape of aesthetics, but also underscored the enduring relevance of beauty in the human experience. Romanticism emerged as a profound cultural movement in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, fundamentally reshaping the landscape of aesthetics and artistic expression. Characterized by a reaction against Enlightenment rationalism and the industrialization that marked the era, Romanticism placed immense value on emotional expression, the experience of the sublime, and the role of creative genius. These elements reflect the core tenets of Romantic aesthetics, influencing the ways in which art is created, experienced, and understood. At the heart of Romanticism is the notion that art serves as a powerful outlet for emotional expression. Romantic artists prioritized intense feelings and personal vision over technical perfection or adherence to established conventions. They believed that authentic creativity arises from genuine emotional experience, which allows for a deeper connection between the artist and the viewer. This emphasis on emotional expression resulted in a wide-ranging exploration of the inner emotional landscapes of artists. Painters like Caspar David Friedrich and Francisco Goya sought to convey profound feelings through their works, often reflecting themes of melancholy, isolation, and transcendence. In literature, poets like William Wordsworth and Lord Byron gave voice to personal struggles, nature's beauty, and the complexity of human emotions. This focus on authenticity marked a departure from the previously dominant neoclassical ideals, which emphasized reason and decorum. Romantic artists believed that revealing their inner emotional states through their works could cultivate empathy and connection with their audience, sharing both personal and universal experiences. By prioritizing emotion, Romanticism opened the door for subsequent artistic movements that further explored the complexities of the emotional human experience. Another critical concept in Romantic aesthetics is the sublime, an aesthetic experience characterized by overwhelming power and vastness that evokes both pleasure and terror. The Romantic vision of the sublime captures the awe-inspiring aspects of nature, its beauty, grandeur, and often its capacity for destruction. In confronting the sublime, individuals may feel an exhilarating sense of insignificance in the face of immense beauty or natural forces, provoking a complex emotional response. Romantic artists sought to evoke the sublime through their works by emphasizing dramatic landscapes, tumultuous skies, and expansive vistas. The paintings of Joseph Millord William Turner often reflect the sublime through their portrayal of light and atmospheric effects that capture the raw energy of nature. Similarly, the poetry of Samuel Taylor Coleridge and John Keats grapples with themes of beauty intertwined with darkness, echoing the romantic fascination with the power of nature and its capacity to evoke profound emotional reactions. Unlike the serene beauty celebrated in classical aesthetics, the sublime transcends mere beauty through its emotional intensity. This complex emotional response invites individuals to engage with the awe, wonder, and fear that accompany encounters with the vastness of the natural world. By delving into the sublime, romantic artists encourage their audiences to explore the depths of human emotion, awakening feelings that transcend ordinary aesthetic experience. The Romantic movement also redefined the notion of the artist, elevating the idea of creative genius to central importance. Artists were viewed as exceptional individuals endowed with a unique vision and often perceived as working through divine inspiration. This was a departure from earlier conceptions of the artist as a skilled craftsman adhering to specific rules and traditions. Romantic thinkers celebrated the originality of artistic creation, valuing it over imitation. The emphasis on unique personal expression allowed artists to break free from conventional norms, leading to innovative styles and new forms of artistic practice. This emphasis on individualism enabled artists to forge new paths that resonated with their emotional truths, fostering a culture of creativity that prioritized self-expression. Prominent figures of the Romantic movement sought to conquer traditional artistic conventions in pursuit of their visions. The literary works of Mary Shelley, for instance, reflect the complexity of inner experience, exploring themes of identity and the duality of human nature. In visual art, the paintings of Eugène Delacroix exemplify this innovative spirit as he explored bold colors and expressive brushwork to convey deep emotional resonance. In the popular mindset of the Romantic era, artists became cultural heroes whose works were imbued with the spirit of individualism. This romanticized view of the artist as a genius paved the way for future artistic movements that continued to explore the tension between originality and tradition. Romanticism fundamentally transformed the understanding of aesthetics by placing emotional expression, the sublime, and the notion of creative genius at the forefront of artistic experience. By prioritizing genuine emotional engagement and emphasizing the complexity of human feelings, the Romantic movement not only reshaped artistic expression, but also enriched the cultural landscape of the time. The exploration of the sublime invites contemplation of both nature's beauty and its potential for terror, pushing individuals to confront their emotional depths. Meanwhile, the elevated view of the artist as a unique genius spurred innovation and individualism in art. As Romantic aesthetics continues to resonate through contemporary art and literature, the core principles of emotional authenticity and the pursuit of unique expression remain influential to this day. The legacy of Romanticism invites us to embrace the depths of human experience and the beauty found within our own emotional journeys, reminding us that art is a reflection of the intricacies of life itself. Aesthetic experience encompasses a complex interplay of sensory perception, emotional response, cognitive processing, and transformative impact. Each of these dimensions contributes to how we engage with art and beauty, shaping our understanding and appreciation of the world around us. Exploring these facets provides insight into the profound nature of aesthetic encounters. The journey of aesthetic experience begins with sensory perception, our initial encounter with a work of art or a moment of beauty through our senses. This can involve sight, sound, taste, touch, or even smell, depending on the nature of the experience. For instance, viewing a painting allows us to engage visually, appreciating colors, forms, and textures, while listening to a symphony invites auditory engagement, revealing rhythms, harmonies, and melodies. Sensory perception serves as the gateway to aesthetic experiences. It is through our senses that we first recognize beauty, whether it be in the intricate brushstrokes of a Renaissance masterpiece, the delicate scent of a blooming flower, or the vibrant sound of a live concert. This initial encounter with sensory stimuli often captivates our attention and piques our curiosity, drawing us into a deeper exploration of the experience. Following sensory perception, an aesthetic experience typically elicits an emotional response. This dimension emphasizes the powerful feelings that arise in reaction to the sensory engagement. The emotional response can vary widely, encompassing joy, nostalgia, awe, serenity, or even sadness, depending on the individual and the artwork in question. For example, encountering a striking landscape painting might evoke feelings of tranquility, inspiring reflections on nature's beauty and our place within it. Conversely, a poignant piece of music could stir feelings of melancholy, prompting listeners to connect with their own experiences of longing or loss. This emotional engagement reinforces the impact of the aesthetic experience, establishing a personal connection between the observer and the artwork. The emotional responses triggered by aesthetic experiences pave the way for personal introspection and self-discovery. Through this emotional lens, individuals may relate their feelings to broader themes of love, existentialism, or societal issues, making the experience not only sensory, but also profoundly personal and relational. The third dimension of aesthetic experience involves cognitive processing, which encompasses the interpretation and meaning-making that occurs after the initial emotional engagement. In this phase, individuals reflect on their responses and analyze the meaning of the artwork or experience. Cognitive processing allows for a deeper engagement with the aesthetic encounter, as individuals consider the context, symbolism, and themes present in the work. This stage reflects the interplay between aesthetic judgment and intellectual inquiry. For instance, a viewer may contemplate the historical context of a painting, analyze the techniques employed by the artist, or draw connections to cultural or philosophical ideas. In literature, a reader might uncover layers of symbolism or thematic depth in a poem, leading to new insights about human nature or societal issues. Cognitive processing can significantly enrich the aesthetic experience, transforming it into an intellectual exploration of meaning. This reflective engagement often leads individuals to approach art and beauty with a more critical eye, encouraging deeper appreciation and comprehension of various artistic forms. The final dimension of aesthetic experience is its transformative impact, which reflects the lasting change in perception or perspective that can result from engaging with beauty or art. Aesthetic experiences often have the power to alter how individuals see the world, challenge preconceived notions, and foster personal growth. This transformative effect can manifest in various ways, including shifts in values, attitudes, or emotional awareness. For example, an encounter with a powerful work of art addressing social issues may inspire an individual to take action or advocate for change. Similarly, experiencing the sublime in nature, a breathtaking vista, a raging storm, can evoke a sense of humility or awe, prompting one to reevaluate their relationship with the environment. These moments of transformation can redefine one's understanding of self, society, and the world at large. The lasting impact of aesthetic experiences serves to highlight their significance in the human experience, illustrating that art is not merely a source of pleasure but a catalyst for personal and societal transformation. As individuals reflect on and integrate their experiences, they are encouraged to engage more deeply with the world around them and to view beauty as a fundamental aspect of the human condition. Aesthetic experience is a multifaceted process that encompasses sensory perception, emotional response, cognitive processing, and transformative impact. Each of these dimensions plays a vital role in shaping how we engage with art and beauty, guiding us through an intricate journey from initial encounter to profound understanding and lasting change. By recognizing and appreciating this complexity, individuals can deepen their experiences of art and beauty, fostering connections that transcend mere aesthetics and resonate on personal, cultural, and philosophical levels. Ultimately, aesthetic experiences remind us of the beauty inherent in life, art, and the myriad ways we navigate and interpret our existence. The relationship between art and representation has been a central theme in aesthetic discourse, spurring various theories that seek to explain how art communicates and engages with reality. Four prominent theories, mimetic, expressive, formalist, and symbolic theory, offer distinct perspectives on the role of representation in art, each emphasizing different aspects of how art functions and resonates with audiences. Mimetic theory posits that art imitates reality, capturing and representing the external world through accurate depiction. Rooted in ancient Greek philosophy, particularly in the works of Plato and Aristotle, this theory holds that art serves as a reflection of nature, where the artist's task is to replicate the physical world as faithfully as possible. In traditional mimetic theory, the value of art lies in its ability to portray objects, people, and scenes with precision, often striving for realism. This pursuit of accurate representation was particularly influential during the Renaissance, a period marked by a renewed emphasis on anatomical correctness, perspective, and the faithful depiction of light and shadow. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo exemplified this approach, as they meticulously studied human anatomy and natural phenomena to enhance the realism of their works. While mimetic theory underscores the role of representation in establishing a connection between art and the real world, it has also faced critiques. Some argue that a strict adherence to realism limits artistic expression and the potential for art to explore abstract, emotional, or conceptual ideas. Despite these critiques, the mimetic approach continues to serve as a foundation for discussions about realism and representation in art. In contrast to mimetic theory, expressive theory emphasizes that art is a means for artists to communicate their emotions, thoughts, and inner states. This theoretical perspective prioritizes the subjective experience of the artist, positing that the creation of art is an act of personal expression, where the artwork embodies the artist's feelings and psychological landscape. The expressive theory of art resonates particularly with movements like Romanticism, where artists were celebrated for their ability to convey intense emotions and subjective experiences. For example, the paintings of Edvard Munch and the poetry of John Keats reveal deep inner turmoil, longing, and passion, allowing audiences to connect with the artist's emotional truths. In this context, the value of art is measured by its capacity to evoke empathy and share the artist's emotional experiences, inviting viewers into a deeper understanding of human feelings. Critics of expressive theory argue that emphasizing individual expression can lead to a neglect of the formal aspects of art or the broader cultural and social contexts that shape both the artist's work and audience reception. Nevertheless, expressive theory remains significant for its insistence on the importance of emotion in artistic creation. Formalist theory shifts the focus from content and expression to the formal elements of art itself. This perspective asserts that the value of art lies primarily in its composition, structure, color, line, texture, and overall aesthetic arrangement. Formalist theorists argue that these elements should be the primary focus of analysis rather than the subject matter or the emotions expressed by the artist. Prominent formalists such as the art critic Clive Bell and the philosopher Roger Fry emphasize the importance of aesthetic experience derived from the way elements are combined within an artwork. According to this view, an understanding of how colors interact, lines define forms, and compositions balance space is essential in appreciating the beauty of a work of art. Formalism emerged as a response to earlier theories that prioritized meaning and representation, asserting that artworks should be appreciated for their inherent beauty and the skill involved in their creation. Critics of formalist theory contend that it can lead to an overly narrow interpretation of art, ignoring the emotional resonance or cultural significance that art may carry. Nonetheless, formalist theory remains a cornerstone of art criticism and education, particularly in analyzing visual compositions. Symbolic theory suggests that art conveys meanings that extend beyond literal representation, using symbols, allegories, and metaphors to communicate complex ideas, truths, and cultural narratives. This approach allows for a broader interpretation of art, emphasizing the importance of context, cultural significance, and the complexities of human experience. Symbolic art often communicates philosophical, religious, or socio-political themes, inviting viewers to engage with deeper layers of meaning. For example, the works of Hieronymus Bosch, with their intricate symbolism and allegorical imagery, encourage audiences to delve into representations of morality, sin, and the human condition. Similarly, many literary works employ symbolism to represent broader themes, as seen in the use of the green light in F. E. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby as a symbol of unattainable dreams. While symbolic theory seeks to interpret art through its meaning and cultural resonance, it also invites critical examination of the context in which the artwork was created and received. This perspective acknowledges how symbols can shift in meaning over time and across cultures, further enriching our understanding of art's role as a vessel for complex ideas and emotions. The diverse theories of art and representation, mimetic, expressive, formalist, and symbolic, each offer unique insights into the role and function of art. Mimetic theory underscores the importance of accurate representation, while expressive theory values the emotional dimensions of artistic creation. Formalist theory highlights the significance of aesthetic elements, and symbolic theory expands the conversation to include deeper meanings and cultural narratives. Together, these perspectives contribute to a richer understanding of art's multifaceted nature, encouraging audiences and critics alike to engage with artworks from multiple angles. As art continues to evolve, these foundational theories provide a framework for interpreting and appreciating the complex interplay between representation, emotion, and meaning in artistic expression. The phenomenology of aesthetics offers a rich framework for understanding how beauty is experienced and understood through direct embodied engagement with art and aesthetic objects. Rooted in the philosophical tradition of phenomenology, which focuses on the structures of experience and consciousness, this approach emphasizes the importance of lived experience in shaping our encounters with beauty. Central to this perspective are concepts such as embodied perception, lived experience, and subjective interpretation, each revealing layers of meaning that inform our understanding of aesthetics. At the core of the phenomenological approach to aesthetics is the idea of embodied perception. This concept posits that our experience of beauty is intricately linked to our physical bodies and sensory modalities. Rather than viewing art solely as an intellectual or conceptual exercise, phenomenology emphasizes the role of the body in perceiving and engaging with aesthetic experiences. Embodied perception involves the ways in which our senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, and even smell, interact with artworks and aesthetic environments. For instance, standing before a vast painting can evoke not just a visual response but also a physical one. The viewer may feel a sense of awe that resonates through their body. The texture of a sculpture can invite tactile exploration, stimulating both the senses and the imagination. Critically, this emphasis on the body highlights the dynamic relationship between subject and object in aesthetic encounters. As we engage with art, our bodily reactions, such as shivers of delight, moments of stillness, or even discomfort, inform our understanding and appreciation of beauty. This embodied aspect of perception underscores the notion that beauty is not a mere abstract quality, but rather a lived experience that unfolds through our physical interactions with the world. The phenomenological perspective emphasizes lived experience as a crucial component of aesthetic engagement. Lived experience refers to the direct, immediate encounters we have with artworks and beauty in our environment, characterized by a personal and subjective quality. This experiential dimension moves beyond traditional, detached interpretations of art, inviting us to explore how aesthetic experiences shape our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. In a phenomenological analysis of art, the focus shifts to the richness of the experience itself rather than the historical or theoretical context of the artwork. For example, when visiting a gallery, the viewer's reactions to a particular piece, such as a feeling of connection or a sense of nostalgia, become paramount. This emphasis on lived experience fosters an engagement with art that is personal and immediate, highlighting the ways in which artworks can resonate with individual feelings, memories, and perceptions. Lived experience also acknowledges the temporal dimension of aesthetic engagement. Our encounters with beauty are not static. They evolve over time as we revisit certain artworks or reflect on their meanings. This ongoing relationship transforms the experience of art into a dynamic dialogue between the observer and the aesthetic object, emphasizing how each interaction contributes to our understanding of beauty. Another key aspect of the phenomenology of aesthetics is the emphasis on subjective interpretation. This concept recognizes that individuals bring their unique histories, emotions, and perspectives to their encounters with art, resulting in varied meanings and interpretations of aesthetic objects. Subjective interpretation affirms that there is no single correct understanding of beauty. Rather, it is shaped by personal context and the specific circumstances of each observer. In this framework, the meaning of a painting, sculpture, or performance emerges not only from the artist's intent, but also from the viewer's responses and interpretations. An abstract work may evoke feelings of joy in one viewer and confusion in another, illustrating the deeply personal nature of aesthetic experience. This diversity of interpretations enriches the conversation around beauty and art, allowing for a multiplicity of voices and meanings. Phenomenology encourages individuals to engage with their subjective interpretations explicitly, fostering self-reflection and deepening their appreciation of aesthetic objects. By recognizing the personal significance of their interpretations, viewers can explore their relationships with art, culture, and their own lived experiences, ultimately enhancing their understanding of beauty as a shared yet individual phenomenon. The phenomenology of aesthetics provides a powerful lens through which to explore the unfolding of beauty in consciousness. By focusing on embodied perception, lived experience, and subjective interpretation, this approach emphasizes the primacy of direct first-person engagement with art. Phenomenology challenges us to move beyond abstract analyses and theoretical frameworks, inviting a deeper connection with the aesthetic dimensions of our lives. By embracing the richness of our experiences with beauty, we can cultivate a greater appreciation for the complexities and nuances of art. The phenomenological perspective affirms that beauty is not merely an object to be observed, but a dynamic interplay of experience, sensation, and meaning-making that resonates deeply within our consciousness. Through this understanding, the exploration of aesthetics transforms into a journey of self-discovery, emotional engagement, and interpersonal connection, revealing the profound significance of beauty in the human experience. In recent decades, contemporary aesthetic theories have emerged as profound responses to the evolving cultural landscape and artistic practices of our time. Shifts in global perspectives, advancements in technology, and the challenges posed by postmodern thought have reshaped our understanding of beauty, representation, and art. Key contemporary aesthetic theories include the postmodern challenge, global aesthetics, and the impacts of technology, each offering unique insights into the complexities of aesthetic experience today. The postmodern challenge represents a critical departure from the search for universal standards in aesthetics. Postmodernism emerges from the late 20th century, characterized by skepticism toward grand narratives and absolute truths. This perspective rejects the notion that there are universal criteria for evaluating beauty or art, emphasizing instead multiplicity, plurality, and fragmentation. Postmodern aesthetic theories celebrate diversity, asserting that various cultural contexts shape interpretations of art and beauty. Rather than adhering to established norms or traditions, postmodern theory encourages experimentation and subversion of conventional forms. Artists and theorists alike explore hybrid forms, pastiche, and irony, challenging the boundaries that often define artistic expression. This emphasis on fragmentation and plurality acknowledges the complexities of contemporary life. With globalization, artists grapple with diverse cultural influences, merging styles and ideas to create new modes of expression. Additionally, postmodern aesthetics often engage with themes of identity, power dynamics, and social critique, highlighting how art reflects and interrogates the intricacies of modern existence. Global aesthetics expands the conversation around aesthetics beyond Western-centric traditions, facilitating cross-cultural dialogue that enriches the understanding of beauty and art. This theoretical framework recognizes that aesthetic values and practices are deeply influenced by cultural contexts, emphasizing the need to engage with various cultural perspectives. Global aesthetics invites exploration of diverse artistic expressions from around the world, including indigenous, African, Asian, and Latin American art. By appreciating these varied cultural traditions, global aesthetics challenges the dominance of Western art narratives and acknowledges the richness of non-Western aesthetic experiences. This approach fosters a more inclusive understanding of beauty, recognizing that diverse forms of art can convey profound meanings and insights. The dialogue promoted by global aesthetics encourages cultural exchange and collaborative artistic practices, allowing for a deeper appreciation of the interconnectedness between different cultures. Artists engaging with global aesthetics often draw on multiple influences, creating works that resonate with audiences across cultural boundaries. This cross-cultural dialogue enriches contemporary aesthetic discussions and broadens the scope of what can be considered beautiful or significant in art. The rapid advancements in technology have significantly shaped contemporary aesthetic theories by creating new forms of artistic expression and altering how we engage with art. Digital media has transformed traditional notions of art, allowing for interactive, immersive, and multi-sensory experiences that challenge established artistic conventions. Digital art, virtual reality, and augmented reality open up innovative avenues for creativity, allowing artists to explore new modes of representation and engagement. For instance, interactive installations enable viewers to participate in the creation of the artwork, fostering a sense of agency and personal connection to the experience. Furthermore, social media platforms facilitate the dissemination of art to a global audience, democratizing access and challenging traditional gatekeeping roles within the art world. Technological impacts also provoke new questions about authorship, originality, and the definition of art itself. The rise of generative art, created through algorithms or artificial intelligence, complicates existing notions of creativity and human agency, inviting dialogue surrounding the role of the artist in a technologically driven world. In addition, the proliferation of digital media has transformed how we experience and consume art. Accessible online galleries, streaming platforms, and virtual exhibitions allow audiences to engage with artworks from diverse cultures and contexts, expanding their exposure to various aesthetic practices. This shift not only alters the context in which we view art, but also influences our understanding of beauty in a rapidly changing, interconnected world. Contemporary aesthetic theories reflect the complexities of our globalized and technologically advanced society. The postmodern challenge emphasizes the rejection of universal standards, celebrating multiplicity and fragmentation in artistic expression. Global aesthetics invites cross-cultural dialogue, expanding the understanding of beauty beyond Western traditions and promoting inclusivity. Technological impacts transform how we create and engage with art, fostering new forms of experience and access. Together, these contemporary theories illuminate the dynamic nature of aesthetics in the 21st century, inviting individuals to navigate the intricacies of beauty and artistic expression in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. By embracing these evolving aesthetic frameworks, we can foster a richer appreciation for the multifaceted dimensions of art and beauty, recognizing that every cultural context offers valuable insights into human experience and creativity. Aesthetics is not a monolithic concept. Rather, it varies significantly across cultures, each offering unique perspectives and values regarding beauty and artistic expression. This diversity enriches our understanding of aesthetics as it reflects the beliefs, philosophies, and traditions inherent in specific cultural contexts. By examining Japanese aesthetics, Indian rasa theory, and Islamic aesthetics, we can gain insight into how different cultures articulate and appreciate beauty. Japanese aesthetics is characterized by principles that emphasize simplicity, suggestion, and the beauty of impermanence. Central to this perspective are the concepts of wabi-sabi and mono-no-aware. Wabi-sabi celebrates the beauty found in imperfection and transience. It appreciates objects that are rustic, aged, and weathered, highlighting the idea that beauty lies in the natural cycle of growth and decay. This aesthetic values asymmetry and simplicity, often manifesting in pottery, architecture, and gardens. For instance, a tea bowl that shows signs of wear and irregularity might be treasured for its uniqueness and history, inviting reflection on the passage of time. Mono-no-aware, translated as the pathos of things, refers to the sensitivity to the ephemeral nature of life. It evokes a deep appreciation for the fleeting moments of beauty and the poignancy of transience. This concept permeates Japanese literature, art, and poetry, encouraging individuals to find beauty in the evanescence of life. The cherry blossoms that bloom for only a short time serve as a quintessential metaphor for this sentiment. Together, these concepts contribute to a distinctly Japanese aesthetic that encourages a mindful contemplation of beauty, inviting individuals to engage with their surroundings in a way that acknowledges the interplay of simplicity and impermanence. Indian aesthetics is profoundly articulated through the rasa theory, which identifies 9 emotional essences, rasa, that art should evoke in the audience. These essences include Sringara, love, Hasya, humor, Karuna, compassion, Raudra, anger, Vira, heroism, Bhayanaka, fear, Bibhatsa, disgust, Adbhuta, wonder, and Shanta, peace. The rasa theory emphasizes the experience of emotion as central to artistic expression, suggesting that the ultimate purpose of art is to evoke these feelings within the viewer or participant. For instance, in Indian classical dance, theatre, and music, the artist's role includes not only technical proficiency, but also the capacity to express and elicit deep emotional responses from audiences. Through the use of specific gestures, facial expressions, and narrative elements, artists communicate these emotional essences, allowing the audience to experience and connect with the intended sentiments. This approach highlights the relational aspect of aesthetics, demonstrating that beauty is not just an isolated quality of an art piece, but rather a shared experience that fosters emotional resonance and connection. Islamic aesthetics encompasses a diverse range of artistic expressions that reflect the cultural, spiritual, and philosophical dimensions of the Islamic tradition. A core focus of Islamic aesthetics is geometric abstraction and calligraphy, which serve as expressions of divine order and transcendence. Islamic art frequently employs intricate geometric patterns and motifs that reflect a fascination with mathematics and the natural order. These patterns are often used in the decoration of mosques, textiles, and pottery, epitomizing the belief that the divine is expressed through harmony and symmetry. The repetition of geometric forms symbolizes the infinite nature of God, inviting contemplation of the divine presence within creation. Calligraphy holds a central position in Islamic aesthetics as it transforms the written word into a visual art form. Beautifully rendered Arabic script is used not only to convey religious texts, but also to create decorative art and architectural elements. The fluidity and elegance of calligraphy exemplify the interplay of art and spirituality, expressing reverence for the divine and the beauty of language itself. Islamic aesthetics emphasizes abstraction and non-representational forms in part due to aniconism, the avoidance of depicting human or animal forms in religious contexts. This focus on geometric and calligraphic art invites individuals to transcend the material and engage with deeper spiritual dimensions, highlighting the integration of beauty and faith. The exploration of aesthetics in different cultures reveals a rich tapestry of approaches to beauty and artistic expression. Japanese aesthetics, with its appreciation for simplicity and impermanence, encourages a mindful engagement with the transitory nature of life. Indian rasa theory emphasizes the emotional resonance of art, inviting audiences to connect deeply with their experiences. Islamic aesthetics showcases the beauty of geometric abstraction and calligraphy, reflecting a belief in divine order and spirituality. These cultural traditions offer alternative frameworks for understanding beauty beyond Western-centric perspectives, emphasizing the significance of context, belief systems, and lived experiences in shaping aesthetic values. By embracing diverse aesthetics, we can cultivate a more inclusive appreciation for the myriad ways in which art and beauty manifest around the world, enriching our understanding of the human experience and the quest for meaning. The intersection of neuroscience and aesthetics offers intriguing insights into how our brains engage with beauty and art. Recent advances in neuroimaging technologies have enabled researchers to explore the neural mechanisms underlying aesthetic experiences, revealing that such encounters activate multiple brain regions responsible for processing emotion, cognition, and sensory perception. This exploration highlights the complexity of aesthetic experiences and emphasizes the interconnectedness of various cognitive and emotional processes. At the core of our aesthetic experience is the activation of multiple brain regions, particularly the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex, each playing distinct roles in shaping how we perceive beauty. The limbic system serves as the emotional center of the brain, involved primarily in the processing of emotions. This system includes structures such as the amygdala and hippocampus, which are critical for our emotional reactions to aesthetic stimuli. The amygdala plays a significant role, as it is primarily responsible for processing emotions such as fear, pleasure, and joy. When we encounter a work of art or music that evokes a strong emotional response, the amygdala activates, signaling feelings of pleasure or discomfort associated with the aesthetic experience. The hippocampus, another important structure within the limbic system, is associated with memory and context. Aesthetic experiences can trigger memories linked to previous encounters with similar stimuli, enriching our emotional responses. For instance, viewing a particular landscape may evoke memories of a childhood vacation, resulting in a complex emotional experience that combines nostalgia with aesthetic appreciation. While the limbic system processes emotional responses, the prefrontal cortex takes charge of judgment, decision-making, and higher cognitive functions. This area of the brain plays a vital role in evaluating aesthetic experiences, allowing individuals to reflect on their responses and make judgments about beauty. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex in particular engages in analytical thinking and self-reflection, helping individuals assess the values and qualities of a piece of art. When viewing a painting, this region might activate to analyze the composition, technique, and emotional content, contributing to the viewer's overall judgment of the artwork. On the other hand, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is involved in reward processing and subjective evaluation. When an individual finds pleasure in an aesthetic experience, this region activates, reinforcing positive judgments about the beauty of the artwork. Thus, the involvement of the prefrontal cortex in aesthetic experiences supports the idea that our appreciation of beauty involves not only emotional engagement but also cognitive evaluation, creating an interplay that enriches our interactions with art. Furthermore, aesthetic experiences engage various sensory areas of the brain, integrating information from our visual, auditory, and tactile senses. For instance, while listening to music, the auditory cortex becomes active, and when we encounter visual artworks, the visual cortex and other sensory regions related to touch and spatial perception are activated. This multisensory integration contributes to the richness of aesthetic experiences, allowing individuals to develop a comprehensive understanding and appreciation of art. Through these interactions between sensory input and emotional processing, our brains create feelings of awe, pleasure, and connection, illustrating how neuroscience elucidates the complex ways we perceive and respond to beauty. In conclusion, the neuroscience of aesthetic experience reveals a dynamic interplay between emotional, cognitive, and sensory processes in the brain. The activation of the limbic system underscores the significance of emotions in shaping our responses to beauty, while the prefrontal cortex enables thoughtful reflection and judgment about aesthetic value. By integrating sensory information, the brain creates a holistic experience of art and beauty, emphasizing the profound impact aesthetics have on our lives. Understanding the neural mechanisms behind aesthetic experiences enhances our appreciation of art and beauty, illuminating the fact that these encounters are not solely subjective or cultural, but are deeply rooted in the biological processes that govern human experience. This knowledge contributes not only to the study of aesthetics, but also to broader discussions about the importance of art in fostering emotional well-being, creativity, and human connection. Environmental aesthetics is an interdisciplinary field that explores the appreciation and value of beauty in relation to natural and built environments. This area of study encompasses various dimensions, including natural beauty, ecological aesthetics, the aesthetic impact of built environments, and human interaction with nature. By examining these aspects, we can better understand how our environments shape our experiences of beauty and meaning. At its core, environmental aesthetics involves the appreciation of natural beauty, untouched landscapes, pristine wilderness, and awe-inspiring natural phenomena. This appreciation often encompasses a sense of wonder and reverence for the natural world, where individuals find joy and inspiration in the beauty of mountains, forests, rivers, and oceans. Natural beauty elicits powerful emotional responses, fostering a connection between people and the environment. This appreciation is deeply rooted in cultural histories and traditions, where natural landscapes have often inspired art, literature, and philosophy. The serene beauty of a sunset, the intricate patterns of a snowflake, or the majesty of a towering redwood can evoke feelings of tranquility, introspection, and profound appreciation for the earth's splendor. Furthermore, the significance of natural beauty extends beyond aesthetic enjoyment. It also has implications for conservation and environmental stewardship. By fostering a deep appreciation for the natural world, individuals may be more inclined to advocate for the protection of landscapes and ecosystems, recognizing the intrinsic value of preserving beauty for future generations. Ecological aesthetics expands the conversation around beauty to incorporate concerns about environmental health and sustainability. This perspective emphasizes that our understanding of beauty should be informed by ecological principles, highlighting the interconnectedness of aesthetic experiences with environmental well-being. Ecological aesthetics invites us to appreciate landscapes that reflect ecological integrity, biodiversity, and sustainability. For instance, a well-designed urban park may be regarded as beautiful not only for its aesthetic appeal but also for its role in supporting local ecosystems, providing green spaces, and fostering community engagement. This approach encourages individuals to reassess conventional notions of beauty by considering how aesthetic experiences can promote ecological sustainability and enhance the health of our planet. By integrating ecological considerations into our appreciation of beauty, ecological aesthetics aims to cultivate a more holistic understanding of our relationship with the environment. This perspective can lead to a greater awareness of how our actions impact the natural world, inspiring sustainable practices that harmonize beauty with ecological responsibility. In addition to natural settings, environmental aesthetics encompasses the appreciation of built environments, human-designed spaces such as cities, architecture, and urban landscapes. The aesthetic impact of these environments plays a crucial role in shaping our experiences and interactions with the world around us. Architectural beauty, for instance, can evoke emotional responses and enhance the quality of life for individuals living and working in urban spaces. Thoughtfully designed buildings, public squares, and parks contribute to a sense of place, community, and identity. The use of light, materials, and spatial configurations can create inviting environments that foster social interaction, creativity, and well-being. However, built environments also present challenges related to aesthetics and sustainable design. The pursuit of beauty in urban development must be balanced with considerations of environmental impact, social equity, and cultural identity. By integrating aesthetic values with sustainable design principles, architects and urban planners can create spaces that not only delight the senses, but also enhance ecological and community health. Human interaction with the environment is a critical component of environmental aesthetics, as it shapes how individuals engage with, modify, and experience both natural and built settings. This interaction can take many forms, from recreational activities like hiking and gardening to urban planning and land use practices. The ways in which people interact with their environments can influence their appreciation of beauty and their connection to place. For example, individuals who engage in outdoor activities such as nature walks may develop a greater sensitivity to the beauty of their surroundings and a stronger sense of stewardship for conservation efforts. Conversely, human modifications to landscapes, such as urban development or agricultural practices, can disrupt the aesthetic qualities of natural environments, leading to tensions between development and preservation. Understanding the dynamics of human interaction with the environment emphasizes the importance of fostering a sense of responsibility toward aesthetic and ecological values. By encouraging sustainable practices and raising awareness about the impact of human actions on natural beauty, we can cultivate a more harmonious relationship with our surroundings and enhance the overall experience of beauty within our environments. Environmental aesthetics broadens the scope of aesthetic appreciation to encompass the intricate relationships between natural beauty, ecological health, built environments, and human interaction with the world. By recognizing the significance of both untouched landscapes and thoughtfully designed spaces, we can cultivate a deeper understanding of beauty that inspires respect for the environment and a commitment to sustainability. Through this exploration, we learn that beauty is not merely an isolated experience, but a dynamic interplay between people and their environments. As we engage with the aesthetic dimensions of our surroundings, we are reminded of our role in shaping and preserving beauty for future generations, fostering a sense of responsibility toward the landscapes we inhabit and cherish. The digital age has ushered in a transformative shift in the realm of aesthetics, profoundly altering how art is created, experienced, and understood. Technology has not only democratized access to diverse forms of artistic expression, but has also raised complex questions about authenticity, creation, and the nature of the aesthetic experience. Key aspects of this evolution include access to digital art experiences, the implications of reproduction and authenticity, the rise of virtual spaces, and the emergence of new creation techniques, such as algorithmic art. One of the most significant impacts of the digital age on aesthetics is the unprecedented access it provides to art and culture. With the advent of the internet and digital platforms, individuals can engage with artistic experiences anytime and anywhere. This constant availability allows for a broader range of styles, genres, and cultural expressions, empowering diverse voices and facilitating cross-cultural dialogue. Digital platforms such as Instagram, Pinterest, and online galleries enable artists to share their work with global audiences, breaking down geographical barriers that once limited exposure to art. Viewers can explore exhibitions from the comfort of their homes, interact with artists directly, and even participate in virtual workshops and events. This democratization of access fosters greater appreciation for diverse aesthetic practices and encourages collaborative projects that span different cultures and disciplines. However, this expansive access also presents challenges. The sheer volume of digital content can lead to aesthetic overload, prompting questions about the impact on attention spans and the depth of engagement with artistic works. Nevertheless, the digital age undeniably amplifies the accessibility of art, enriching the ways we experience beauty and creativity. The ease of reproduction in the digital realm has profoundly challenged traditional notions of authenticity in art. Digital technology allows for the creation of infinite perfect copies of artworks, raising questions about originality and value. Unlike traditional art forms, where an original piece holds intrinsic worth, digital reproductions can be disseminated widely at little to no cost. This shift challenges the long-standing belief that authenticity is tied to the uniqueness of an artwork. In a digital context, artworks can be easily reproduced, shared, and modified, leading to a re-evaluation of what it means for an artwork to be original. Concepts of authorship and ownership also come into question, as artists navigate the complexities of licensing, copyright, and intellectual property in the digital space. While the reproduction of digital art facilitates wider dissemination and appreciation, it simultaneously invites critical discussions about the value assigned to authenticity in an age where digital copies can proliferate and evolve. This evolving landscape prompts artists, collectors, and audiences alike to reconsider their relationship with art and the meanings imbued within originality. The rise of virtual spaces has transformed the aesthetic experience by creating immersive environments that expand the dimensions of art. Virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, technologies enable artists to explore new forms of engagement, crafting experiences that blur the lines between the physical and digital worlds. In virtual spaces, viewers can explore art installations in three-dimensional environments, interact with artworks, and even participate in collaborative experiences with other users across the globe. These immersive experiences invite individuals to engage with art in novel ways, fostering a deeper connection to both the content and the context of the artwork. Moreover, virtual spaces challenge traditional notions of space and place in art. They allow for the creation of environments that can be entirely fantastical or reflective of real-world locations, reshaping how we understand our relationship with art. By transcending the limitations of physical galleries, virtual spaces offer new opportunities for artistic exploration and audience participation, expanding the aesthetic dimensions of contemporary art. In the digital age, new methods of creation are emerging that challenge conventional definitions of human creativity. Algorithmic art, generated through algorithms and artificial intelligence, raises provocative questions about authorship, originality, and the role of the artist. Algorithmic art incorporates computational processes to produce original works, often blurring the lines between creator and created. For instance, artists may use software to generate images, music, or even literature based on predefined parameters, opening new avenues for artistic exploration. This collaborative relationship between human and machine invites discussions on the nature of creativity itself. Can creativity arise from non-human origin? The rise of algorithmic art challenges traditional views of artistic expression, highlighting the potential for technology to enhance and expand creative possibilities. While some may see this as a threat to human artistry, others view it as an exciting frontier that allows for innovative experimentation and the exploration of new aesthetic forms. The digital age has ushered in a new era of aesthetics, fundamentally altering how we access, experience, and create art. The constant availability of digital art experiences democratizes engagement, while the implications of reproduction challenge our perceptions of authenticity and value. Virtual spaces expand the dimensions of aesthetic experiences, allowing for immersive interactions that transcend traditional boundaries. Meanwhile, new creation techniques like algorithmic art provoke reflection on the nature of creativity and authorship. As we navigate this evolving landscape, it becomes essential to embrace the complexities and possibilities that the digital age presents for art and aesthetics. By acknowledging both the challenges and opportunities inherent in this transformation, we can cultivate a richer appreciation for the diverse ways in which beauty and creativity manifest in our increasingly interconnected world. Aesthetic ethics emerges as a crucial interdisciplinary field that explores the complex relationship between aesthetics and ethics. It grapples with fundamental questions about the moral dimensions of art and beauty, interrogating how ethical considerations shape our understanding and appreciation of creative expressions. This exploration encompasses various aspects, including the moral content of art, the political power of artistic representations, critical theories of representation and appropriation, and the ecological impact of artistic practices. By examining these interrelated dimensions, aesthetic ethics aims to offer a nuanced understanding of the responsibilities that accompany artistic creation and engagement. The ethical dimension of aesthetics prompts us to explore key questions related to the values and moral implications of artistic expressions. This includes considering whether and how art can convey ethical messages or shape moral perspectives. As we engage with works of art, we often confront the intricate interplay between beauty and morality, raising debates about what is deemed acceptable or unacceptable within artistic practices. One of the central questions within aesthetic ethics is whether immoral art can be beautiful. The idea that art may possess aesthetic value irrespective of its moral content challenges our assumptions about beauty. For instance, works depicting violence or suffering may provoke aesthetic appreciation despite their troubling themes, leading to discussions about the limits of artistic expression and the responsibilities of artists in portraying complex moral issues. Autonomism versus moralism. Within aesthetic ethics, a critical debate arises between autonomism and moralism. Autonomism asserts the idea that art exists independently of moral considerations, suggesting that aesthetic value can be appreciated in isolation from ethical implications. This perspective argues for the freedom of artistic expression, allowing for the exploration of uncomfortable or controversial themes without moral judgment. Conversely, moralism emphasizes the inherent connection between art and ethics, arguing that the moral implications of a work should factor into its aesthetic appreciation. This stance advocates for a conscientious engagement with art, encouraging audiences to critically evaluate the messages conveyed by artworks and the responsibilities of artists in shaping cultural narratives. The tension between autonomism and moralism highlights the complexities of navigating aesthetic appreciation in a world rife with social and ethical dilemmas. As audiences engage with art, they must grapple with their personal values and societal considerations, negotiating the boundaries between beauty and morality. Another critical dimension of aesthetic ethics involves examining the political power of art. Artistic expressions can reinforce or challenge societal structures, making it vital to explore how art interacts with power dynamics, ideologies, and social justice issues. Art can serve as a tool for both oppression and liberation, influencing public discourse and shaping collective identities. For instance, protest art and politically charged works can challenge dominant narratives and advocate for social change. By interrogating existing power structures, artists can utilize their creative practices to amplify marginalized voices and bring attention to injustices. Conversely, art can also reinforce existing hierarchies and ideologies, raising questions about the responsibilities of artists and the ethical implications of their work. Critical theory plays a significant role in this exploration, as it encourages a deeper analysis of how art functions within cultural and political contexts. By examining the intersection of art and power, aesthetic ethics prompts us to consider the broader implications of artistic practices and the impact they have on society. Post-colonial theory interacts with aesthetic ethics by examining the legacies of colonialism and how they shape artistic practices and representations. This framework interrogates how colonial histories influence cultural production and the distribution of artistic power. It emphasizes the importance of decolonizing aesthetic practices and promoting authentic representations from formerly colonized communities. In this context, aesthetic ethics involves a critical analysis of how art can either perpetuate colonial narratives or challenge them by bringing forward voices and perspectives that have been historically marginalized. Artists engaged in post-colonial discourse often work to reclaim cultural narratives and assert identities that colonial powers sought to suppress. By examining art through a post-colonial lens, we can better understand the ethical implications of representation, the responsibilities of artists in addressing historical injustices, and the potential for art to serve as a vehicle for healing and cultural resurgence. The ecological footprint of art is another dimension worthy of consideration within aesthetic ethics. As environmental concerns become increasingly urgent, questions arise about the sustainability of artistic practices and the environmental impact of the materials and processes used in creating art. Artists and institutions are challenged to consider the ecological consequences of their work, prompting debates about the sustainability of materials, the carbon footprint of art exhibitions, and the role of art in advocating for environmental change. Aesthetic ethics encourages artists to explore how their practices can align with ecological values and contribute to fostering a more sustainable future. Environmental ethics intersects with aesthetic considerations, urging us to reevaluate our definitions of beauty and value in the context of the natural world. This reflection can inspire innovative artistic practices that prioritize ecological sustainability and highlight the beauty of the environment itself. Aesthetic ethics provides a critical framework for examining the interplay between art, beauty, and moral considerations. By exploring ethical dimensions such as the moral content of art, political power, post-colonial theory, and environmental impact, we gain a deeper understanding of the responsibilities that accompany artistic expression. As we navigate the complexities of aesthetics in the contemporary world, engaging with these ethical questions fosters more mindful interactions with art and beauty. It challenges us to reflect on our values, consider the broader societal implications of artistic practices, and cultivate an appreciation for the diverse ways art can contribute to societal change, cultural understanding, and environmental stewardship. Ultimately, aesthetic ethics encourages a holistic approach to beauty that encompasses not just visual appeal, but also the moral and cultural narratives that shape our experiences of art. The philosophy of design is an exploration of the principles and values that underpin the creation of objects, spaces, and systems. This field examines various dimensions of design, including function, form, experience, and meaning. By analyzing these aspects, we gain insights into how design shapes our interactions with the world and influences our perceptions of beauty, utility, and cultural significance. At the core of design philosophy is the concept of function, which addresses the practical purpose of a design. This dimension evaluates how well a design fulfills its intended role and meets the needs of its users. Function extends beyond mere usability. It encompasses efficiency, effectiveness, and the overall satisfaction that comes from engaging with a well-designed object or space. For instance, in product design, a chair must not only provide seating but also ensure comfort, support, and durability. Similarly, an architectural structure should serve its intended purpose, whether that be a home, office, or public space, while facilitating the activities that occur within it. A design that successfully integrates function is often viewed as successful and valuable, leading to increased user satisfaction and a positive experience. However, the emphasis on function can also lead to challenges. In some cases, a focus solely on functionality might risk overlooking aesthetic considerations or emotional engagement. Balancing function with other design dimensions becomes vital in creating holistic solutions that resonate with users. The dimension of form examines the visual and sensory qualities that a design embodies. This aspect encompasses aesthetics, including color, shape, texture, and overall composition. The form of a design is crucial in shaping initial impressions and in establishing an emotional connection with users. A well-designed object often conveys beauty and appeal, drawing users in through its visual and tactile attributes. For example, a beautifully crafted piece of furniture or an architecturally striking building can evoke admiration and stimulate interest. The form of a design not only contributes to its visual impact, but also influences how users interact with it. The curvature of a handle, the smoothness of a surface, or the proportion of structural elements all play roles in defining user experience. While form is essential for aesthetic engagement, it should not be considered in isolation from function. A successful design harmonizes form and function, achieving a balance that allows users to appreciate the beauty of the object while also benefiting from its practical utility. Experience delves into how users interact with and feel about a design. This dimension emphasizes the subjective nature of design engagement, recognizing that individual perceptions, emotions, and contexts shape our interactions with objects and spaces. Designers must consider the user experience throughout the design process, focusing on usability, accessibility, and emotional resonance. For example, consider how a well-designed website not only provides information, function, but also offers intuitive navigation, engaging visuals, and a pleasing aesthetic that creates a positive emotional response. The experience of design extends beyond mere interactions. It encompasses the overall ambiance and atmosphere created by a space. A thoughtfully designed environment can influence mood, behavior, and even social interactions. In this way, understanding user experience becomes essential for designers, as it informs decisions that enhance the connection between users and the designed object or space. The dimension of meaning addresses the cultural and symbolic significance that a design carries. All designs are situated within cultural contexts that influence how they are perceived and interpreted. This aspect encompasses the narratives, values, and emotions that a design evokes, highlighting how design can reflect or challenge societal norms. Meaning in design can be communicated through symbolism, historical references, and cultural motifs. For example, traditional craftsmanship may convey cultural heritage and identity, while contemporary designs might reflect current social issues or innovations. By considering meaning, designers can create works that resonate more deeply with users, fostering connections that go beyond functionality and aesthetics. Moreover, meaning contributes to the longevity and relevance of design. Objects or spaces imbued with cultural significance or emotional resonance often endure through changing trends, becoming cherished aspects of communities and individual lives. The philosophy of design offers a comprehensive framework for understanding the interplay between function, form, experience, and meaning in the creation of objects and spaces. By examining these dimensions, we can appreciate how design shapes our lives, influences our perceptions of beauty, and reflects cultural values. Engaging with the philosophy of design encourages a holistic approach to creation, urging designers to balance practicality with aesthetics and to consider the emotional and cultural significance of their work. In doing so, we cultivate a deeper understanding of how design not only serves functional purposes, but also enhances our experiences, Critical theory enriches our and lives, aesthetics and reflects the intersect at the diverse point where tapestry art of and human culture are examined through the lens of power dynamics, social hierarchies, and cultural representation. This framework utilizes critical analysis to reveal how artistic practices both reflect and shape societal values and structures. Key aspects of this engagement include power analysis, representational critique, institutional examination, and the transformative potential of art. By exploring these dimensions, critical theory provides valuable insights into the broader implications of aesthetic practices. One of the foundational elements of critical theory is power analysis, which examines how art reflects and reinforces social hierarchies. This dimension explores the ways in which artistic expression and cultural production are influenced by power dynamics, prompting questions about who holds authority in the creation and dissemination of art. Art does not exist in a vacuum. It is shaped by economic, political, and social contexts that inform the values and beliefs of a society. Works of art can serve as tools of both reinforcement and resistance regarding existing power structures. For instance, a painting commissioned by a wealthy patron may reflect the values and power dynamics of elite society, ultimately reinforcing social hierarchies. Conversely, art created by marginalized communities may serve as a critique of those very structures, challenging dominant narratives and advocating for social change. Through power analysis, we can better understand how art functions as a cultural practice that is both shaped by and shapes the social order. This examination reveals the underlying ideologies and values that inform artistic expression, encouraging us to reflect critically on the role of art in perpetuating or challenging systemic inequalities. Representational critique is another key component of critical theory that questions who is portrayed in art, how they are represented, and by whom. This dimension interrogates the power dynamics involved in representation, recognizing that the act of portraying individuals and communities is fraught with ethical considerations and historical implications. Representation in art often reflects the biases of those in positions of power, leading to stereotypical or one-dimensional portrayals of marginalized groups. For example, the historical underrepresentation of women and people of color individuals in traditional art forms can perpetuate harmful stereotypes and reinforce societal norms. A critical approach calls for an examination of whose voices and experiences are prioritized in artistic narratives and challenges dominant representations that exclude or misrepresent marginalized identities. Additionally, representational critique advocates for the inclusion of diverse perspectives in art, emphasizing the importance of authentic representation that reflects the richness of human experience. By interrogating the politics of representation, critical theory encourages artists and audiences to engage with art responsibly and thoughtfully, fostering a more equitable and inclusive cultural landscape. Critical theory also involves analyzing the institutions that shape the production and dissemination of art, including museums, galleries, and canon formation. These institutions often hold considerable power over what is deemed worthy of preservation, exhibition, and recognition within the art world. By examining these structures, we can reveal the biases and values that underlie the selection and display of artworks. Museums and galleries have historically reflected prevailing cultural narratives, often privileging particular artists or movements while marginalizing others. The processes of canon formation can effectively exclude entire genres, styles, or cultural practices from mainstream recognition, reinforcing existing power dynamics within the art world. An institutional examination calls for a critical assessment of who has access to art, whose stories are told, and how those stories are presented. This awareness can lead to calls for greater diversity and inclusivity within cultural institutions, challenging the status quo and opening spaces for underrepresented voices. Finally, critical theory explores the transformative potential of art, considering how it can imagine and inspire alternative social realities. Art has the capacity to challenge existing narratives, provoke critical thought, and envision new ways of being and relating to one another. This potential for transformation positions art as a powerful tool for social change, capable of mobilizing audiences and fostering collective action. Through its ability to engage emotions, spark dialogue, and inspire empathy, art can illuminate the experiences of marginalized communities, encouraging audiences to confront injustice and envision a more equitable future. Artists engaging in social critique often use their work to address pressing social issues, advocate for change, and envision possibilities beyond oppressive systems. Critical theory ultimately champions the idea that art can serve as a catalyst for social transformation, encouraging artists and audiences to challenge the status quo and imagine new futures. This transformative potential underscores the importance of critically engaging with art and culture as we navigate the social complexities of our time. Critical theory and aesthetics offer a powerful framework for examining the relationships between art, power, and society. By exploring power dynamics, representational politics, institutional structures, and the transformative potential of art, we gain valuable insights into the role of aesthetics in shaping cultural values and social realities. This critical engagement encourages artists and audiences alike to reflect on their roles in the cultural landscape, fostering a more inclusive and equitable appreciation of art. Through this lens, we can better understand how art not only reflects our world, but also has the capacity to challenge existing norms and inspire meaningful change. By embracing critical theory, we can cultivate a deeper awareness of the ethical dimensions of artistic practices, recognizing the profound impact that art can have on our social fabric and collective consciousness. The future of aesthetic philosophy is poised for significant evolution as it integrates emerging insights from neuroscience, engages with intercultural dialogues, navigates the complexities of virtual experiences, and contemplates the implications of artificial creativity. Each of these dimensions presents exciting new questions and challenges that will shape our understanding of aesthetics in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. As our understanding of the brain deepens through advances in neuroscience, the integration of these insights into aesthetic philosophy offers rich opportunities for exploring how beauty is perceived. Neuroscience can inform philosophical theories of aesthetics by providing empirical evidence about the cognitive processes and neural mechanisms involved in experiences of beauty. Research in areas such as brain imaging and neuropsychology can illuminate how specific brain regions are activated during aesthetic experiences, revealing the emotional and cognitive responses associated with various forms of art. For instance, studies on how the brain processes visual stimuli or music can inform philosophical discussions about the nature of beauty and the subjective experience of art. By merging neuroscience with aesthetic philosophy, we can develop a more comprehensive understanding of the mind's role in shaping our perceptions of beauty and art. This integration also raises philosophical questions about the universality of aesthetic experiences and the extent to which they are biologically grounded versus culturally constructed. The future of aesthetic philosophy will increasingly involve intercultural aesthetics, fostering meaningful dialogue between diverse aesthetic traditions from around the globe. As globalization continues to facilitate cultural exchange, philosophical discussions about aesthetics can benefit from the rich insights offered by various cultural perspectives. Intercultural aesthetics invites us to explore how different cultures understand and appreciate beauty, art, and aesthetics, prompting critical examinations of how cultural contexts shape aesthetic values. Engaging with diverse traditions challenges Eurocentric models of aesthetics and encourages the recognition of multiple standards and practices of beauty. This dialogue not only enriches aesthetic philosophy but also promotes cross-cultural understanding and appreciation. By exploring concepts such as Japanese wabi-sabi, Indian rasa theory, and African communal aesthetics, scholars and artists can develop a more inclusive approach that values the unique contributions of various cultural traditions. The rise of immersive digital environments presents new philosophical questions regarding aesthetic experiences in virtual spaces. As technologies such as virtual reality, VR, augmented reality, AR, and interactive media continue to develop, they challenge traditional notions of aesthetics and experience. Philosophers will need to consider how virtual experiences shape our understanding of presence, engagement, and embodiment in aesthetics. How do emotional responses manifest in digital spaces, and what are the implications for our conceptions of beauty? Additionally, the ability to simulate environments and experiences raises questions about authenticity, representation, and the relationship between the real and the virtual. As we navigate these uncharted territories, aesthetic philosophy must grapple with the ethical considerations surrounding virtual experiences, including issues of accessibility, representation, and the potential for manipulation in digital art and environments. The emergence of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning invites profound reconsiderations of authorship, creativity, and genius within the realm of aesthetics. As AI systems create art, music, literature, and other forms of creative output, philosophical questions arise regarding the nature of creativity itself and the roles of the artist and the machine. Debates about authorship challenge traditional notions of the genius artist. If an AI generates a compelling piece of art, who is credited with its creation? The developer of the algorithm, the user who inputs the parameters, or the machine itself? This inquiry prompts a reevaluation of what it means to be creative and how we define artistic value in the face of artificial intelligence. Furthermore, philosophical discussions surrounding artificial creativity can interrogate the ethical implications of using AI in artistic practices. What responsibilities do artists and developers have regarding credit, originality, and the potential for AI to perpetuate biases present in the data it is trained on? The future of aesthetic philosophy is rich with potential for growth and transformation. The integration of neuroscience offers new insights into the perception of beauty, while intercultural aesthetics fosters meaningful dialogues that enrich our understanding of diverse aesthetic traditions. Additionally, the rise of virtual experiences challenges foundational philosophical concepts and invites critical inquiry into the realities of immersive art. Meanwhile, the advent of artificial creativity forces us to reconsider authorship and the nature of creativity itself. As we navigate these developments, the philosophy of aesthetics will play a critical role in shaping how we understand the interconnectedness of art, culture, and human experience in a rapidly changing world. Engaging thoughtfully with these emerging questions and challenges will not only enhance our appreciation of beauty, but also deepen our understanding of the human condition in the context of contemporary society. The study of aesthetics is an enduring journey marked by an exploration of beauty, art, and meaning that connects us to both historical thinkers and contemporary experiences. As we traverse this landscape, we encounter the philosophical heritage that informs our understanding, navigate the present experience of beauty across cultural differences, and look toward future explorations that promise to unveil new dimensions of aesthetic appreciation. This journey illustrates the dynamic nature of aesthetics and its capacity to transform our perceptions and experiences of the world. At the heart of aesthetics lies a rich philosophical heritage shaped by enduring questions about beauty that have persisted since ancient times. Thinkers such as Plato, Aristotle, Immanuel Kant, and Friedrich Nietzsche have grappled with the nature of beauty, the role of art, and the relationship between aesthetics and ethics. Their inquiries laid the groundwork for contemporary discussions, and the questions they posed: what is beauty? How do we evaluate art? What role does art play in our lives? Continue to resonate today. This philosophical legacy connects us across centuries, reminding us that the pursuit of understanding beauty is a shared human experience. The dialogues initiated by ancient thinkers serve as a foundation for ongoing conversations in aesthetics, prompting both reflection and critical engagement. As we engage with their ideas, we not only honor their contributions, but also shape our contemporary understanding of beauty in light of evolving cultural and social contexts. In our present experience, beauty wields the power to create shared meaning across cultural differences. Artistic expressions serve as a bridge, inviting individuals from diverse backgrounds to come together in appreciation of the beauty found in various forms, whether in visual art, music, dance, literature, or performance. This shared encounter with beauty nurtures a sense of connection, fostering dialogue and understanding amidst cultural diversity. Modern citizenship requires recognizing that our definitions of beauty are shaped by myriad influences, including cultural heritage, personal experiences, and social contexts. Engaging with art from different cultures encourages us to appreciate the plurality of aesthetic values and the richness of human expression. This acknowledgement of diversity not only enhances our appreciation of beauty, but also acts as a catalyst for empathy and cultural exchange. Through the lens of contemporary aesthetics, we are reminded that beauty can serve as a powerful tool for social change and community building. It has the capacity to highlight shared human experiences, ignite conversations about equity and justice, and inspire collective action in the face of adversity. In this way, the present experience of beauty becomes a vital aspect of our cultural and social landscape. Looking to the future, the exploration of aesthetics is poised to uncover new frontiers in understanding and creating beauty. Developments in technology and digital media are reshaping artistic practices, enabling new forms of expression while challenging our traditional notions of creativity, authorship, and representation. The rise of virtual and augmented reality, for instance, opens exciting avenues for immersive experiences that engage audiences in profound ways. Moreover, interdisciplinary collaborations between aesthetics, neuroscience, psychology, and cultural studies promise to deepen our understanding of how beauty is perceived and valued. Insights from these fields can inform philosophical inquiries, allowing for a more nuanced appreciation of the cognitive and emotional dimensions of aesthetic experiences. As we navigate these emerging frontiers, it remains essential to uphold a commitment to inclusivity and ethical considerations in artistic practices. The future of aesthetics must embrace diverse perspectives and address the global challenges we face, ensuring that the exploration of beauty fosters understanding, compassion, and social responsibility. Aesthetics is indeed a continuing journey, rooted in a rich philosophical heritage that informs our understanding of beauty while evolving through present experiences that celebrate cultural diversity. As we explore future horizons of aesthetic inquiry, we are reminded of the transformative power of beauty to shape our perceptions, drive social change, and foster connections among individuals and cultures. The philosophical study of beauty will continue to evolve, reflecting the complexities of our ever-changing world while encouraging us to engage meaningfully with the art and beauty around us. In this ongoing journey, we are invited to explore the depths of human experience and creativity, enriching our lives and the societies we inhabit through the shared pursuit of beauty and understanding.